It's not about the hundreds of thousands of views. It's about the shares, which are the people that are probably your local, that care the most about it. And your content, not only will it perform well, but it gets you in front of the right audiences. And that's the key.
This episode is brought to you by SocialGenius. That's where Jeff and I get to actually teach you what to do on social and how to grow it. Jeff, why should people join?
You know, if you are the type of professional that wants to do it yourself, and maybe your budget's a little bit lighter and you can't afford to hire somebody to do all the editing, do the fancy stuff for you, we're going to teach you how to do all this stuff. And the truth is, most of these social platforms are not favoring authenticity. So it's shooting these green screens and doing remixes and understanding what's trending. Those are the things that matter the most to your social strategy. And so if you like to be inside of a tight culture of people that are like-minded and want to do it themselves, then SocialGenius is perfect for you.
We'll see you there. You'll never find it for less than this anywhere else. It's very inexpensive. We'll see you on the other side.
Tristan, I want to really focus on the most important metric on your socials today. Adam Mosseri has been talking a lot about this. We've been talking about it for a long time, and that is the metric of, he actually doesn't call it shares. He calls it sends, where you're sending it to your friend. Same concept. But if everyone listening to this can get your mind in the place where when you're creating content, your primary focus is on what is it that my audience would find it interesting enough that they'd want to share it. And so we thought we'd start this episode today by talking about something that I do every single year. And if you follow me, you already know this. My favorite week of the year is the Lake of the Ozarks shootout. It's arguably probably one of the biggest events, at not only in the water scene and the boating scene in the country, but the Lake of the Ozarks is probably one of the biggest events of the year. Very, very popular. And so I plan out my week. I go to as many events as possible. As time evolves, I'm getting invited to more and more events, which is really cool. To tell you a little bit, some of those stories that happened over the past week. But I go there with the intent, Tristan, of creating as much content as possible, documenting as much content as possible, because it's going to carry me for months. And I'm just going to be sprinkling this in for a long time, which is a good reason why my followers love me. But the other thing is, I document, and this is what I did this year more so than in years past, I'm documenting every day. So at the end of every day, I go home, I go through and take some of my highlights and say, this was the highlight from this event. This was my highlight from this event. This was my highlight from this event. And I've done that over the past 7 days or so. And just to validate the power of this, on TikTok alone, over 400,000 views just in the last 7 days. 400,000 views, 3,600 profile views, over 640 comments, and the most important metric, 4,835 shares as of today. We're not even a week old. 4,800 shares. On Instagram, which it's not quite as big of an audience, but still pretty solid, 181,000 views, over 400 comments, and again, over 4,100 shares. So between the two platforms, I'm at over 9,000 shares in less than 7 days. And so the moral to the story to me is, and I'm speaking directly to you, Tristan, who's doing this in Malibu. It's like, find an event or two or three, whatever it is, that is a super popular local event. It could be a week-long event. It could be a weekend event. It could be just a one-day event. Find those events and make it a mission to document the shit out of them. And I mean, by the way, leading up to it, like, here's some things to know. Here's what to expect. Here's the hours. Here's when the things are happening. And then, you know, like what I did, Tristan, was leading up to the event, I was sharing content from last year, which was getting people all jazzed up. In fact, that's probably my most successful post over the last 7 days. And then I was documenting as I was going along, and it's gotten to the point where people have come to expect it now. You do this over a series of years, and people are like, I can't wait to watch your content. Thank you so much for sharing.
Dude, let's
let's cover, because we've got a coaching session this week too on Thursday, right? Let's just go over that because it covers so much on the community, because you've done it for now over a year. So you have past and present. I think we should totally explore that.
I like it. Yeah, it's
So I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Because now you've done it for over a year, which means you have
this is 2 years now. Well, 2 years going all in.
Okay. And then you've got the previous content, which, dude, amazing. I didn't even think that the previous year would be even better than this year, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So now, are you going through some of the comments and the commenting and making those videos too, or no? What are you doing right now?
I mean, because I have so much content, I haven't even found the need to do that. I will also say, though, that the vast majority, if not all of the comments are very positive. So it's not like it's anything that I necessarily need to. It's like everybody's so jazzed, everybody's into it. There's a lot of funny comments because there's a lot of people talking about how, well, now I feel poor, or and here I thought I was doing well, because these are all $1 million type boats. So there's a lot of funny comments, but yeah, I mean, I have it. I need to do more of that. But the truth is, actually, I guess I did one last week where somebody asked a question about details for the shootout. But other than that, I have so much content. It's like every day I'm so excited to get home to like, all right, what am I going to take from the 75 videos I took over the course of the day? Which ones am I going to take? I'm going to choose 5 or 6 of them and throw them in there. And I know what people think and are probably saying to themselves, well, this is really cool. It's fast boats. It doesn't have to be, it depends on the community you're in. If you live in a big city, you get sexy events too. It could be sporting events. It could be holiday type events. It could be something that your community is known for. But even if you're a small community, a small town that you live in, you have your things that people get jazzed about every single year. It could be a state fair. It could be a rodeo that isn't huge anywhere else but in your community, but it's what everybody gets jazzed about. It's not, and again, it's not about the hundreds of thousands of views. It's about the shares, which are the people that are probably your local that care the most about it. And your content, not only will it perform well, but it gets you in front of the right audiences. And that's the key. I know you got it. I know Malibu's got to have some cool things that go on. And I think for you, the challenge is like you and your team, it's like, let's go find the thing that people are getting jazzed about over a 12-month period that happens year after year after year. And let's just make it a mission to document the shit out of it. And
that's true.
It's so useful. Yeah.
I bet you could also go in. So now as you're getting this 2 years now, you could also start going in some of these boats and also going inside and recording it and saying, so yeah. You ready? It's like, dude, I bet you that's going to happen next, man, because they're going to invite you to it.
I got invited on the poker run this year, so that was cool. I got to go out on a $1.4 million center console, so that was fun. That was the video where the helicopter was flying next to us. Dude,
Hang on, because this is good for you. Obviously, I have great ideas for you and shit for me, okay? But you have great ideas for me too, so it's reversed. So you know that guy that on Instagram and TikTok, he goes through the cars and he says, this car does this. It's got the top slider. It's got this on the dash. It's got, check out the back. You got the seats. You've seen that guy, right?
Yeah.
Dude, you could totally do that for boats, bro.
Yeah. I could, and the street party, which was last Wednesday, it's where the boats are up on on land, and they're there for everybody to see. And in many cases, you can see inside of them, and in many cases, the owner of the boat or the pilots are there. And the one thing I didn't do this year because I was rushed to get just to get the content was I could walk down that street and just interview people. I actually saw people doing it. And so I was like, damn, I've got to integrate that in and start doing more of that. I haven't been invited to go on one of those. CK asked me that before you joined. Like, have you ever ridden in a boat that goes 200 miles an hour? The answer is no. I did ride in an MTI, which was a buddy's. It's just a brand of boat. They make super sexy boats. And he took us out. One of my other buddies, my tractor pulling buddy, was down, and they came and picked us up one morning before we left. And he's like, "What's the fastest you ever gone on a boat?" We go, "No." He goes, "Have you ever gone 100 miles an hour on a boat?" And I said, "No." And he's like, "All right." And so we just took off and got to 100. I had Winter with me because Mom wasn't down. And I thought to myself before I got in the boat, should I call Sarah? No, I'm not. I'm going to ask for forgiveness later because she's going to tell me don't do it. And but it was cool, and it was just to go 100. We got it up to 101 miles an hour, and that is an experience in and of itself. A traditional boat like that somebody would own and just like take out on the weekends might get up to 130, maybe 150, but it's racing boats that are going 200, and like not anybody gets a chance to ride in those boats. It's like a fighter jet. It's like a cockpit.
I need to see all the bells and whistles. Like this button does this. This button does. Check out this underneath the seat. You've got this. That's what I need to see.
You know what? Most of the conversations around these boats are all about their engines, and it's something about blocks and nitrous, and it's all over my head. So I always have to go ask all my buddies. Like Sean Curley's a motorhead, and I'm always like, all right, now explain this to me in layman's terms. But yeah, it's interesting.
That's cool, dude. Well, look, everyone listening in, do exactly what Jeff's talking about. Community. Yeah. Can you find that thing in your community that happens every year? And every community has that. If you're going this route with your socials.
Exactly.
There's no excuse. In fact,
if your business is built around selling something in a geographic area, it doesn't matter what you do. You could be an insurance salesman. You could own a local boutique. You could own a local restaurant. Either way, like any one of those that I named, unless you sell something on a national level, which most of us are in the business that does something locally. And the primary, sphere of your business is within a probably 100-mile radius. In many cases, a 50-mile radius of that area. And so that's really, we get so caught up, Tristan, in these vanity metrics. I hear it all the time, like, ooh, that'll go viral. And I always think to myself, so what? Like, who cares? What is that going to do for you? And usually when I ask people that, they can't answer it. Like, well, I don't know. It's just cool. But I like cool, but I like getting paid more. And this is for business, man. I'm doing this for business. I'm doing this to build influence. And just to add to that, while I'm thinking about it, so I got invited to several events this past week, and that continues to grow. And so, like one of the events I went to, I'll just give you a couple stories. One of the events was like a meet and greet pre-party, and by the way, it was the events at the shootout now are getting so packed. There was over 11,000 people at the street party at this meet and greet party for the poker run. They said boats were tying up to rose bushes. It was so packed. And so we're just kind of walking around, taking it all in. We're picking up our packets, getting a drink. Me and a realtor buddy of mine, we were like, let's go walk the docks and go look at the boats. And as we were walking to the boat, some guy comes running after us. He goes, "Hey, guy in the white shirt." He was talking to me. He's like, "My boss just sent me over to chase you down because he wants to meet you." And so I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I'm thinking I'm either going to get my ass kicked or this is something about, a social media. And we went back and the guy's like, he's like, "Dude, I'm Chris Wilson and I've been following you. We moved down here. When we moved down here, I started following you. You've been so helpful for learning about the Lake of the Ozarks. He's like, you are my favorite guy. I just wanted to say thank you. And I wanted to let you know that I was the guy that commented on one of your hats. I couldn't find it, so I had my own made, and I made you one too."
Whoa.
It was pretty fascinating. And then you know what he said? "And we just bought a house, and now we have to sell our condo. Can you help us with that?" Dude, no joke. This happened just last Thursday night. And there was, we were then on Saturday afternoon after we got back from the rain, we were just running, we were going down what they call the gauntlet. So it's like where boats are like tied up and you're just kind of rolling through just to see where you want to park. And this happened several times, but some guy comes running off the front of his boat. He goes, dude, the TikTok guy, Jeff, I love your content. It's so funny, man. The last one, then we ended up going, we go tie up with next to Sean Curley, and he's tied up to 2 boats. And we're just sitting there hanging out, and one of my buddies on Sean's boats goes, Fitzer. He goes, that's the guy's son over there. He's 15 years old. He asked me if I know you. And he goes, yeah, his name's JeffPfitzer. And the kid looks at his dad. He goes, Dad, that guy's a legend on social media. And and then my buddy's like, can you come over and meet him? I mean, I can't make this stuff up, dude. Can't make this stuff up. Yeah. It was fun. It was fun. And I took a lot of shit from my friends, of course, but I'm like, this isn't about my ego. This is about validation that this works, because the more people that are quote unquote raving fans of you, now the more and more I start to integrate real estate content, guess what's going to happen? It's going to be like taking candy from a baby. And they're just going to want to, whatever it is I sell, they're going to want to buy. And I just thought this would be a good way to talk. It's a good thing to talk about on the podcast today, because it doesn't come easy, but if you do it correctly and you do it consistently and you just do it, it will work, and it will grow your influence in your community. I guarantee if you're a real estate agent, a loan officer, whatever, you will pick up extra deals every year. And for me, this, Tristan, that's why I'm getting my real estate lessons. I think it's going to be bigger than that. And you just gotta follow through.
Yeah.
So yeah,
real estate will only be one of your verticals.
Yeah.
I agree. Dude, you really should start looking at merch at this point. If that guy said, I couldn't find your hat and had to make one,
yeah,
that's the indication.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we're still trying. The merch thing is I just don't feel like I'm that big. I'm big relative to normal, but I'm not big like London big.
It doesn't. You don't have to
be
London,
I know.
right? It all starts in that niche, because think about what we just touched on barely, and you may not even do it until like next year. Yeah. But just the idea of going through a boat and showcasing a boat, that all of a sudden expands your audience dramatically, right? And you started with the Lake of the Ozarks. Now you're going through these $1 million boats, and now all of a sudden everyone in the U.S. or anyone on the lake will be like, oh, Jeff's the guy that does the boats, and he's on the Ozarks.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
dude, of course, Jeff and I give each other ideas all day long, okay? So there you go.
Well, and I will say this, last thing I'll say about it, the most leads I've actually received, at least recently, a lot of leads that have been coming in have been coming from real estate agents in other markets who said, I had somebody who said they wanted to move to the Ozarks. The first person I thought it was you. And these are people
they don't know how big Ozarks is either.
They don't. But it's random. Like one was in Arizona, is an agent in Arizona. One was somebody from, I think it was California. And it was like just random stuff. But I've done such a good job of positioning myself as the Lake of the Ozarks person of the geographic area that now realtors are thinking of me, and I'm going to end up probably getting referrals from all over the country in the years to come. Yeah, it's pretty cool, dude. It's pretty fun.
All right, so
you've been along this ride since day one, so you've been watching it. You've been watching it evolve.
Dude, I absolutely love it. Some days when we're talking like today, I get goosebumps just listening to your story, man. I'm like, this is so cool. It's so cool, man. It's so cool. I'm so proud, happy. I'm like, this is fucking amazing. So I just love it. So anybody listening in, like, you've got to just start. It takes such a long time, but it's so worth. Look, Jeff is I feel like he's right in the middle of it, because the next stage is not just going to just gravitate towards a bigger circle. Everybody's like, oh my God. And then everyone will be like, oh, Jeff, you're so amazing. But nobody watched the beginning of the consistency and the headaches and the heartaches, right? So consistency, and then going back and tweaking. It's like, that didn't work, but this might, or this did. That's the key.
100%.
That's the key. All right. You know what? We were going to talk about politics. I'm going to leave that to next time. I think this was just a good community session, because we all have things to look too in our communities that can be repetitive. It can be small. It could be the community park picnic. It could be we have in our area, the Conejo Valley Days, where it's big Ferris wheel and the whole thing. That once a year you could do that. Whatever it is for you. It could even be a weekly car show for the summer.
Yeah.
Can you imagine a car show? That like the amount of millions of views people get with that.
Yeah.
So that's why I was thinking, like,
it's like you almost got to get outside your box. Like the weekend, just to give another example, the weekend after Labor Day is Bike Fest, and like Harleys. I'm not a biker. I would not even fit in. In fact, I'd stand out like a sore thumb. But I've told myself, like, I got to get down there for that. I got to fly the drone over the strip. There's going to be bikes lined for miles. And you know what's going to happen? I told myself, I'm going to pick up a whole new batch of followers. They're the bikers that are Lake of the Ozark people. And it's like, I got to. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to see that.
I want to see. I really want to see you follow through on this too. You mentioned it. You have and again, every community has it. It's just do it, and don't don't forget though. Leading up to the event, talking about you be the person that provides the content, that tells people the days, the hours when the events are happening. That's the stuff people are sharing. That's the stuff people are saving. And then you document it as it goes along. I mean, I'm telling you, it's gold and it works. You just got to commit to it.
So on that, I think this is why I want to see the breakdown on Thursday. So if you guys are listening in, we do coaching, group coaching. I think all two of our listeners, Brian's listening. I know that Brian will go over this on Thursday. And then whoever our other secret listener is, let us know. We still can't figure out who the other one is. But Thursday, we're going to break this down. We're going to see the numbers. I'm excited to see the leading up to the event. And then I really want to see the old footage. I want to understand, Jeff, you can understand why. Maybe the psychology behind why the old footage did you put the old footage ahead of the event? Is that what it was? Kind of like the build-up? Is that what it was?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was literally like, here's a taste of what to expect, showing you what happened, what it looked like last year. Basically, that was it. Yeah. So, and that's a process too, which we'll talk about on Thursday, which is the process of how I like. In fact, I'm going to spend the next few days going through and putting this content into folders, so then I can easily go find it on my phone when I need to just grab stuff. And I've got that going back, not just 2 years. I've actually got it going back 3-4 years. And so I can always pull from the well, which just makes consistent content creation even easier.
And then show me where you're going to hold that for future, like Google Drive, Dropbox, where. All right, let's go over that.
Absolutely.
All right, that is a wrap, episode 163. That was fun. I'm excited. I want to go. I hope it's motivating all of our listeners. Please go do this. Look to see what events you've got. And next week, we'll be talking about whatever's trending and politics, which will be.
And by the way, if you are one of those followers, let us know. Comment.
Yeah.
Wherever you're watching, comment. Yeah, because we get tired. We're always kissing Brian's ass. You know, we gotta shout somebody else out. So
we need one. We need the other person.
We love you, Brian.
Love you, Brian. Thanks.